And here we go. Welcome, everybody, to the 3-check World Championship here on Lichess. Losers round 10. There's only 2 rounds left here, people, before grand finals. Can you feel the hype? And today we're joined by guest host, True Buddy.
Fast. And Luuk with his old laugh, 94. I think people had refuted that often enough. But no, he doesn't say so.
Yeah, interesting approach here. The whole c5 before e6. It's very touchy on the move order in this line, right? Where you're trying to just manipulate the move order enough and just play c5 without getting e6 in there. Just, you know, waiting as long as possible before playing the...
Well, it has always been his old love, this line, with 94 immediately. Actually, well, it's losing. Of course it's losing. I thought some people like Miro Milkovic have shown how fast it can go, but he's still trying.
Yes, so you're saying 90...
At least mixing up.
94 here. I know there's a touchy move order where, yeah, this might even be lost by force, but I don't quite remember exactly. Yep, and that's what we're seeing here. So Poli, small think... Well, decent think there, but yeah, getting that very touchy move order right is what you want to spend your clock on. Okay, just a classic e6, defending that check, of course. And how to proceed, something like c3. Oh, knight g5 is always probably knight fg5. Yeah, because it allows the queen in. These are the most dangerous moves. From the white side, it's always a little easier to see. From the black side, this is not what you want to see. Yeah, we're threatening a check and some sort of rerouting. But okay, e5 is hanging. So black managing to get something out of this, maybe.
I'm not entirely certain. It has never been my choice, this line with white. But I think it's good so far. And I think there's nothing wrong with white's moves. Yeah, d4 looks very natural.
I'm seeing some...
maybe just f4.
I'm seeing some sort of queen takes e4, getting that second check. And I've had games like this, even 3+2. Yeah, if white slips up, you've got 2 checks. You've got bishops, a semi-active knight over here. Might be able to get a third check like that. It's definitely not the best approach, but are we thinking about it?
I think it's Sharam Tiger who really does this on a regular basis with black, giving up his queen for 2 checks in this line, or very similar line, which I play. Yeah, but probably shouldn't be enough.
Right.
Anyway,
I've been known to do some devious stuff like that myself, but in bullet, yeah.
Yeah, even something like knight f6 and knight e4 has always to be considered here. But maybe not in this very position. King d8 at least is an option for black sometimes. I'm just opening a second screen so I can watch even better.
Yeah, somehow getting out of dodge, getting out of the way of this barrage of checks. If somehow this knight can reroute, like if there was check, yeah, this is looking like the king is probably going to end up on d8 or f8, huh?
Yeah, knight d6. Still a little surprising. Black even has a choice. Yeah, normal move bishop d6, of course. Yeah.
And okay, king f8.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem so bad. It's at least a little bit more elusive. King is over on f8 and out of the way of the danger, at least for now. Bishop is pinned to the diagonal, of course. And maybe even the knight is jumping into like g5 and threatening a check that way. Not quite yet.
Absolutely. So black does have counterplay. I think has gone pretty well for black. So there's no immediate danger to the king on f8 because the bishop on c1 isn't playing, and that's of course because of f4, which is very loosening for white as well. And I think it has gone pretty well for black. I'm just wondering if they show the game here.
Yeah, f4 is a hard commit, especially when you're uncastled. Yeah. It's even a scary move to play when you're castled because your king would be on g1. This diagonal starts to open up, and this is actually what we're seeing here.
Absolutely. Yeah, and now what do you play at all?
Oh, down on the clock.
Might be just game over. Yeah, king h1, knight g3. I think it's just game over.
Yeah, rook f2 just to hold. Just to hold the fort. Does not look appealing. And that's just black's plan is complicate. You know, you go into some line, specific move order, maybe you're much more familiar than your opponent, and you look to pull off the win on the match, the whole match that way. Yeah, it's getting these key wins with black. Wow, okay. And black with the win to start the match. Big win from Luuk.
That's something, yeah.
Classic. 97 from Poli. Right over to g6. I like playing these lines with h4. I think d4 is the more technical way. I think once you get into playing h4 right away, it's kind of a sideline. Still good, but like a second best, not a top.
This is interesting. I think Poli has played this line some time ago, quite regularly, but he has already deviated and is just giving up c5.
Yeah, this
interesting too.
This weird b takes c5.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I've seen this before in this very form. He used to play something like c takes d in that line before. He has played a lot of games with that c takes b4, and yeah, then you don't give up this c5 pawn, but he has just decided give up the pawn, get the pieces out. All my pieces are somewhat good, except for the bishop on c8, of course. That's always the big problem.
Right.
Yeah, still, I'm pretty sure white is winning.
Ooh, f5. Always a spicy move. If black can get an f5, sometimes you just end up, you know, feeling pretty snug over here. Obviously, white's pieces are probably going to get in at some point, but typically if f5 hits, it can be pretty solid for black. Gives you some hope.
Yeah, I think it is solid in a way. Then again, you've really given up material. You can never play d6 in the near future. And yeah, probably white should play it calm. He did, not taking on f6, but just make normal moves, knight e2 maybe. Yeah, and black has to get in b6 to be able to play d6 at some point at least. But this is, of course, overwhelming for white.
Yeah, you want to get in d6. Of course, you probably want to get in bishop d7. Pretty much have to capture this knight. And black chooses e takes d and not taking towards the center. Now you have a huge square for this knight. So maybe you even get in c3, knight e5, and just solidify here. Rook e1 seems to be along the lines of that plan. Bishop can ever jump into e7 too if these knights are ever evicted. I mean, these are sensitive squares here. Hey, Elias in the chat. We get the chat cooking. Good to see. Good to have you guys in here.
I think this is more of a normal position than most 3-check games. And I think what you should do is not so different from what you should do in a normal game here. You're playing for the center, for e5, and yeah, of course, for your pawn up. And I would expect moves like c3, queen somewhere, queen d2. Unless there is a specific opportunity. Rook b1 is a candidate too, of course. Oh, doesn't look so bad. Oh, yeah, he did it. Luuk is a great player. He's great in all types of positions, also normal positions. And yeah, he's pretty strong in standard also. And in some positions, it does help.
Yep, exactly. Those bullet and blitz ratings, and even the rapid rating. He's 2600 on the site. That's got to be at least top 200 or so, probably even top 100. And a slightly different approach here. I was thinking maybe something along the lines with c3, make sure the center is all snug, but he goes rook b1 and maybe even lining up like rook b3 in some sort of computer like rook lift where you get up and over, and the next thing you know this rook is on h3.
Yeah. Now knight g5 likely is a threat. Oh, I thought it was a threat. Let's see. Maybe black is trying queen d5, and then queen takes g2 after knight g5, of course. But maybe bishop c4 first. Isn't this looking good?
Yeah. Ooh, now this knight g5 comes in with tempo as well. Oh,
okay, I thought queen d5 was the idea of black's last move. That's interesting.
It certainly seemed like it with all this pressure on g2. This bishop was finally...
Yeah, but can't you check and bishop h6 now? Or is that wrong?
Ooh.
Knight f7, what do you do?
That looks troubling with the knight cutting off coordination. King is super vulnerable.
Yeah, I think you can just take on h6 on the next move. Just throw away the knight.
Whoa, he goes bishop c4.
Maybe you even have a choice. Yeah.
Okay, well, yeah, obviously the plan is there.
Actually, your plan is in play too with rook b3, h3. This is very strong too, probably.
It also did.
So maybe it's kind of
open the ball field up for this. Yeah, jeez.
Yeah, maybe it's a kind of multi-purpose move, bishop c4, and yeah, it's just very likely just winning here.
Luuk just turned the chessboard into a killing field. Oh no, okay. Can you just take the knight first?
Yeah, I think you will. And then you don't even sacrifice anything. You can just check on f7, and I think you will, because you also expose the back rank.
Oh, of course.
Right. Here is coming, and it's game over, right? Yeah, this has gone well for Luuk so far.
Even if you took with the queen there, yeah, it was mate something there. Jeez, that position was crooked, and yeah, Luuk takes 2 games in a row, white and black, and this is a big game here psychologically. Ooh, little mix up here, right, with knight h6 and now e5, of course.
I think knight g5 is the right move, or one of the right moves. Of course, you do have a choice. I played knight e5 there. I think knight g5 is very good too, if you know what you're doing.
Okay, we are seeing 94 here. Oh man, there's checks all around. Is this another king f8 line? I'm scared. Oh, whoa.
Or a 96 line.
Yeah, whoa. Okay, this is not my playbook here. This is fancy stuff. Oh, I'm getting a little feedback from you. If you have the stream on, turn things down. It's like calling in the radio. They gotta tell everyone to turn down, which I always think is great. But otherwise, yeah, I think Truba sounds great today. If somebody in the chat can let us know, he's feeling a little bit under the weather.
Not
but
great, but if you can hear me at all, that's fine. Right. I certainly don't sound great, but yeah, has been worse over the day.
Hey, JJ in here, yeah, guest host Trubady. Find him playing. Find him on Lee Chess. Find him playing 3-check. Don't quite have a guest host link ready, and I think we're too far in the mix to get one cooking. Yeah, I wasn't quite sure who was going to come on. I was open to bishops and to Jory, but I wasn't quite sure. And but Truba came in about an hour ago, and yeah, it's the best way possible. And Castling.
Jory has been some time with you too, right?
Yeah, he's been on once this year when we were all on, right? And that's the only time he's been featured. Yeah, he had a bit of a weird tournament where he's been so busy, and he showed up late to his match, and then he ended up just forfeiting. And
I remember.
Yeah, I was kind of bummed out about that. Dejori deserved better.
Yeah, I see.
Right?
Sure, he's strong.
Yeah.
Do you know what he's doing in real life? Can you reveal that?
I'm not exactly sure. I'm pretty sure he was studying, and then he's in Germany. That's about as much as I know. Yeah, but he seems like a busy
I found
guy.
out that week.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but then again, he plays a lot, or at times at least, he really played a lot. Okay.
Ooh.
So, Poly definitely has to win. King H8 definitely has to be played. Yep.
And this would be in reverse. Like if Poli was up 2-0, you could probably force a draw here, right? I think this is a forced draw.
Yeah, quite likely.
Sometimes these knight dancing around positions, the king has to go back and forth, and the knight can just threaten that second check, and then the queen is soon to be delivering that third check somehow. Super powerful piece.
I think King H8 was forced after knight G5. You at least have to check out about queen D4 or something. But as you mentioned, Poly doesn't want to draw, of course, and probably will rather try something. Yeah, what will he try? Not enough firepower.
Yeah, how do you get your pieces activated if this game is going to continue? Obviously, you don't want to, can't have a perpetual. Maybe just castling, something like D4, trying to get this bishop involved. Okay, D4 right away. Oh, giving up a check, but developing the bishop. Okay. Typically fine for white.
Yeah, but even that is at least an option for black with queen A5, and even giving up the queen, you have to check that. Okay, C3.
Oh yeah, because it might be queen takes queen takes on D2. Oh no, and then the king would end up on the second rank, and that's never good news.
That was also dangerous. But if the queen takes on E5, that's also good for black, right? Yeah, bishop F4, very likely forced. Queen F5, yeah, that's very safe for black. Oh, I think I would bet a lot of money on black here. Now it's not so clear, even if knight F6 is so strong a threat.
Man, Luuk is really showing up to play here. I think he wants to compete against VariantsOnly again. VariantsOnly, the recent Grandmaster. We don't
yeah, E5
been on
now
the
he's
DL.
even allowing knight F6, and yeah.
Oh yeah, it's bad news.
I think that's fine for black, or actually just winning for black. Although white just needs one more check, but queen D5, bishop E6 or something is not doing the job.
And Poli once again down on time.
Oh, sorry, now you can hear me eating. Very lucky.
Oh no, you're good. Oh no! What happened there? Was there a? That was a bad.
He lost on time, but there was just nothing he could do. So yeah, it was basically resigns.
Bako Kade in here. You ever play Bako Kade? They play a lot of hyper.
Who?
Somebody who's on Lichess just followed on Twitch. Appreciate the follow. Here covering
but not a
free check world championship
player.
Yeah, big pool now. We can't know everyone. Yeah, too many people in here. It's great.
That's interesting. Bishop E2 looking a little timid, but like with an early A6, also a little unusual. Oh, certainly unusual.
Yeah, Bishop E2
but
certainly.
Here I would think this is relatively good for black, because A6 is useful in many lines, and Bishop E2. You can castle fast, but other than that, doesn't look so great. That bishop.
Yeah, I suppose this is really the only way to deal with this, but it looks okay for white. It's definitely not ideal. Yeah, Bishop B2 is too passive. Definitely gets you out of book though. Probably haven't played this type of stuff. Bishop E2 is good in these lines where f5 is played early in these lines that we call the Politeia gambit. With that early 3f5, yeah, where bishop e2, the computer sees this battery idea of just attacking light squares almost robotically. And typically white's plans will have something to do with teeing it off on these light squares. Even just opening up a diagonal can lead to dangerous tactics. Can go for these early checks. Typically white in these main lines will get an early check with the knight. And yeah, they're almost robotic wins. So yeah, you gotta deviate. At least that's a decent idea. Change things up for both sides. Even especially for black. White should always go for this. White wants to play as robotically as possible, I guess. Right? E4. Best by test.
Yeah, that's pretty clear and 3-check, I think. Now I was wondering if knight b7 is an idea for white or not. I would think yes.
Yeah, this square is going to be a vulnerable one of these squares.
Yeah, this looks also very good.
How about knight takes a6?
Well, now knight b7 definitely is an idea. Knight a6, of course, too. And even queen b3 may be strong.
Okay, that's one way to defend the camp. Creative. Your weak points here. Black's queen feels like short on squares, even though it definitely isn't. Oh no, maybe not. Maybe the queen getting to h5 here.
Yes,
oh, yeah. King
I would think. Yeah, he had to do that. Knight can't take because of queen takes g2. And this is not what white planned, probably. Now he can't take on h2 still. And maybe this is the win Poli needs to stay in the match.
Huge right here. Luke's got to be kind of feeling it right now. What is the defense here? I'm not quite sure. This is certainly a dangerous position. You have to move. You have to evict this knight to be defending this queen, because the queen is obviously going to be threatening discover checks. Any second that bishop is moving. So what's the remedy here?
That's a funny position. Yeah, knight g1.
Ah, okay. Bishop moves, knight h3.
Actually, black would love to sacrifice the queen with a check, so with a discovered check, but the white queen, of course, is protecting the bishop on h5. So bishop d6, bishop h5, knight h5 does not finish the game because of queen takes h5. But if you just move the queen, and, well,
Oh.
That's interesting. He has a draw again, very likely.
It was a super complicated position, yeah. This is kind of bananas. Another one of these wacky, yeah. Knight back and forth.
It's also possible that it's just a draw, but actually he doesn't want a draw, and even much less than the last game. Okay, now white still cannot take the bishop, so maybe that was good, and now he can just retreat.
Okay, d5 starts to close this diagonal down, because I was imagining something where the knight takes on h2, then there would have been queen takes g2 check.
But if now I just make a bishop move, right. Now queen h5 is a threat, and if the knight moves, queen h4, and even if you take the bishop, I have queen takes h2. So I think this is very likely game over.
This is scary business.
Yeah.
All these squares to work with here.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Way to go. Way to go
for us.
Yes.
Yeah, now the Caro-Kann. Actually, it's what I suspected. Kind of Sicilian trying out what white is up to. But of course, he has some weapons in store. And against me, he has almost exclusively played the Caro-Kann lately. And I think it's kind of his most solid and trusted weapon.
I like the kind of Caro, but living more dangerously, like the Gavity style, where you're playing I guess it's more of getting in knight f6 sooner, but playing like c6, knight f6, and e5 sometimes hits, and you get these weird lines with like bishop d6, and sometimes white is getting kind of baited in, and the next thing you know, you're like in this equal position, and white plays into it all the time because it's just, they're all natural moves.
Yeah.
But we see something different here. Yeah, it just seemed a little weird here. It seemed like a semi-Slav where you don't put the bishop outside the structure. You know, you're just developing pawns. And I've never been quite the fan of this approach for black in 3-check.
I've gotten a tempo here against the white queen. I'm not so sure about queen f3. Yeah, I would think better for white, but maybe not necessarily winning all that clear. Still, the bishop is bad on c8 as usual.
Interesting here, though. If you go for a queenside castling position, those are always much more dangerous, especially in 3-check. Obviously, you're going for a much more dynamic position, and typically it should be better for white, but if you're going to complicate things enough in dangerous position, the next thing you know, you're losing to black. Your advantage vaporized. This got to be like, yeah, roughly equal, I guess. Black's got to feel pretty good here.
Yeah, probably has prevented castle's long right. So, but it's still very good for white, I think. It has taken some time to transfer the knight to d5, and you haven't really reached something. Rook e1 is very natural. Yeah.
Yeah, which rook wants to come over? Oh. Probably the f rook. But sometimes the f rook likes to stay on f1 just to defend like a weak point.
I would play rook ae1, pretty sure.
Oh, okay, yeah.
At least that's my intuition or first choice. In a normal tournament, I would have played it in 2 seconds or something. Maybe, what is he thinking about? Yeah, okay.
Queen g5. Preventing castling, probably. Ooh. h6,
huh? What exactly is he doing after queen g7? Rather not rook g8, right?
It's gotta be rook g8.
It's just queen f7. No, it's just queen f7, game over, right?
Oh, that's very dangerous.
Yeah. Yeah, that was just made, so he has to play rook f8, but yeah, that's not something you can survive. Now rook e1 looks even more natural.
Try checkers instead, says that was quickly spotted. Ooh, bishop g6, yeah.
Twice he says spot is, but I see, yeah. Bishop g6 was very nice, I think, and may just finish the game right away. Yes.
Quick resigner.
That's the case. 2-3. Yeah. So, now pressure is also on Luuk somewhat. If he does not win this white game, it's completely equal. If he does, he will take the advantage.
Yeah, now we're starting to get into scary territory. If Luuk wins this game with white, you're up 4-2. Of course, 5.5 wins, so we're not quite at a match point yet. But yeah, we're starting to get into intense territory. Oh, bishop d3, I love that move. Yeah, kind of getting baited in. I was explaining this last time, where yeah, you get baited into taking. There's like a bishop d3. I was explaining it from the black side last time, and the next thing you know, you're castling and you're just straight out of dodge. So it's kind of like this, that black line. Yeah, this is a little bit strange, but I kind of like it.
Bishop h2. It's not a problem here. And actually, bishop h2, knight h2, queen h4 is an idea. Yeah, because the knight is in play on e5. I have seen those positions, especially if the bishop on d3 is not hitting the knight on c6. It can come in very quickly on e5. And this may be dangerous.
Yeah, this does look like problems. It seemed like, hey, I'm just getting away with this. Like, I'm developing naturally. Oh, you're taking with the knight, huh? You're going to allow knight e5? And you basically have to play king h1. Next thing you know, you're getting hit with queen h4 and scary times.
Exactly. And maybe queen h4 immediately is also strong. Yeah. One problem for white is that you can't play queen g4 because of queen takes h2, king h2, and then knight f6, hitting the queen and threatening check, so you're winning the queen for free. And that's the main problem for white. And I think I have had similar stuff. And I think you play knight f3 and then queen g4, and you have to somewhat restrict the knight exactly on c6. I think it's also a decent choice after queen g4 to take on d4 with a knight, trading queens, and getting rid of the knight on c6, because he could really harm you on e5. I think this is what will happen, or most likely happen.
Yeah, that line where you're forcing that third check, like you're threatening the queen, that's one of these patterns that if you're new to 3-check, it's kind of hard to spot. It's definitely not something that you're going to be like calculating right away. But with time, you start to see these patterns, and okay, we get queen h5 instead of queen g4.
Yeah,
and
you're
d4,
exact right?
Idea here. Oh, maybe there's something
I
like.
think it's good for white. You have to be.
Can you sack the queen? Queen h2. Yes, yes. Here we go. Knight e5. Oh man.
Yeah, that is Politeia. Honestly, I don't really believe it. I think you can play something like bishop f4. Well, maybe lose the bishop, but maybe that's not a problem. You just have to make sure knight h5 isn't happening. But I think if you're careful, it's fine for white.
You know what I trick people all the time into is they'll blast out f3, and then like you said, you give up the control of h5, and the next thing you know, you cannot stop these knights from checking. Instead of these plans, you get h5, caveman attack.
Yeah, and now black would actually mate with knight fg4 if he wasn't mated in the first place, which he is after knight c7, so that's a pity. His idea was, of course, knight fg4, and that would have ended the game immediately. But I think white is coming first.
Yes.
Last time we had some funny discussions about sayings.
Yeah.
In German we say zuerst malen. It's like in a mill. I don't know what's in English, but yeah, you're coming first with knight b5 and d6. But maybe bishop h5 was a little fast.
Bishop h5 was blasted out.
Yeah, and why?
Oh man, there was
nothing.
There's too much time on the clock there. Yeah, I think that was played too quickly. I think he realized right after as well.
Actually, the h5 pawn is not that important anyway. That was kind of surprising. Okay, 3-3.
And here we go, just like that.
It will be a long match. Definitely not a 6-2 or something. But a really long match, let's hope.
Yeah, quality stuff regardless. It's only I mean there was a clear slip up there, but these have been all high quality games for sure. And this is more of what I like with this. Obviously you can't recapture back, so you get some tension here. Typically if there's ever a capture on e6, the bishop can capture back, and even if the bishop is sitting on c4, you'll like exchange these bishops. There's a lot of mainline c6 theory in 3-check. It's included in the study, which we have linked below in every single one of these videos, which we highly encourage you guys to check out. And you can join the team too. Yeah, join the team. Everybody's part of it. We're all having a ball. It's been a great time doing TCWC this year, 3-check World Championship. It's my 3rd year in a row doing this tournament, and it's only getting better every year. Okay, just some simple development here. Terrible piece on c8. Oh, Truba, I'm getting some feedback here. If you have that other tab up, a little high. I think I'm hearing me on a feedback loop. If you can turn down a little bit.
Sorry, my mobile phone
Yeah, I was hearing some
is
a little bit.
what?
Yeah, I'm hearing me. I'm hearing myself a little bit. If you have like the stream open or something, I don't think it should be Discord, but yeah, I'm hearing myself. Hey, Dread up in here.
We are just connected via a Discord. Maybe I put it a little bit further away.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Should do it. Dread is in here. Dread presence says E5 possible soon. Yeah, E5. I like it in these positions. This is what what I was talking about with C6, a knight on F6, and then getting an E5. Just cavemaning E5. We did play E6 first, but I like the Gavity approach of just, it's kind of balls to the walls of just going right in for it as black, but much more calculated here, slower approach. And looking pretty solid. That's all you can ask for with black, right?
Yeah, if you can't take on G7, like really seems fine. And yeah, this time there's no Queen F7 or something, so this is not something to be afraid. Looks good for black actually. And probably you can't, well, really take on E5. Probably you can't play knight F3 either.
Dread's liking bishop
Probably
F5.
can't play. Yeah, maybe that's a move.
Compromise square here. Yeah, the file opening up is not quite a problem yet. Bishop F5 does come with the tempo.
Maybe Bishop F5 was good. I think then after castling, Bishop H7 and Queen G7 would have worked, right? Yeah, so castling was not an option, and then, yeah, maybe it was a good move. Okay, what is going on now after E4? Well, maybe just castles.
Yeah. Big old fork.
Okay.
Sack a minor piece, but if you take the knight, maybe the queens are forced off. I wasn't loving that, but we could go in a completely different direction here. Knight moves over to H5 with tempo.
Yeah, that was not what black wanted, really.
And just like this, I like white a lot more now.
Yeah. Hey, maybe he did find the refutation. E5 did look tempting, but yeah, if you can't fork anyone anyway on the E file, then white is definitely good. Oh, very, very likely good. Queen H6, yeah, exactly. And now knight G5 should be a threat. Still, Queen G2 to be checked out. Well, it's... Yeah, I think it is a threat because after knight F4 you have King H1. Huh, interesting.
Okay, so you're chopping this.
But now there's a second knight, but you can still hide on H1.
Devious position here. There's just so much going on.
Yeah, King H1.
I don't think you're getting away with this. Can't go back.
Well, just King H1.
Can't go here.
But now you can't play King H1, yeah.
Can't go here. Oh my man, this is an insane line from black. Yep, there's just nowhere to go. Super well done.
It was a threat with knight G5, but it was the second knight on D3 who really killed white, so it was different, and he couldn't hide in the corner. Yeah,
it was like almost working, but then that second knight came in, and calculating these things with so little time is just it's diabolical. Just makes your head spin. Engine found C5,
the move before, and
Dread saying engine found C4. Yeah, I'm trying to avoid any engine stuff. Until
in what position instead of knight G5?
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure, but typically, yeah, we will look at a couple games after if these matches don't go for, if these matches are 2 hours long, we're probably not going to do analysis. Maybe 1 or 2 games tops. But if when these are like an hour long, we typically look at a few games after. Who knows if it'll make it to you too? But
well, we'll see. It might be a 6-3, but it might also be a 7-5 or something. No one knows.
It's certainly feeling that way. Okay, bishop e3, solid. And just bishop e2 again. Okay, makes some sense.
White's play is somewhat, well, restrained, one might say. It's not really killing black here, definitely.
Yeah,
I think he can be happy in a 3-check game. Very happy.
You almost have to be like seizing that opportunity with white, like getting in, knight g5 or something before there's a way to defend f7 or e6. And even the queen can be a little bit short on squares, like if bishop g5 will hit, and typically your bishop is on d3, threatening some light squares. If these things are ever starting to...
Fantastic for black. I mean, the most natural thing is taking on e3 and taking on c5. Or is there really happening something on the f file? Hard to imagine. Yeah, this... okay, maybe white is hoping for bishop f3, takes on e3, f takes e3, bishop c5, and something like bishop h5 then on the e file, on the f file. But now it's knight e5 before. Okay.
Okay, the knight can move. Typically,
now it's time for fun.
Typically, these light squares
maybe now something like bishop d5 or something. Yeah, right.
Bishop d5.
I think bishop e5 was really committal. Sorry, knight e5. Yeah, bishop d5 certainly is dangerous.
Yeah, tactically vulnerable. I was highlighting all these light squares that become weak. Typically this knight is glued to c6 and will not move, will not be evicted. Yeah, there had to be something there. Okay, queen h4. What am I gonna do? I'm just gonna go for counterplay and hope for the best. This looks close though, no?
The knight is defending d7 very importantly, and now black is of course threatening knight f3. Okay.
Yeah, it'd be another one of these sequences where oh no, maybe, well, yeah, it would be another sequence where this knight would be moving ahead and probably at least threatening a perpetual, but probably a win for black there if queen h takes h2 is available. Yeah.
What do you do after g3? Oh no! Now knight f3 just mate. Yeah, that's mate.
Yeah, this does not work.
Yeah, this match will not end in a 6-3.
Wow, okay. I think he was forgetting about the dark squared bishop as well. The knight made that so complicated that position just became a complete madness nightmare.
I thought g3 was necessary. Wasn't clear to me what would happen then, but I thought, well, I didn't see anything else, at least in that.
Dread says he was liking h3.
Time given.
Yeah, h3 was definitely possible there as well. That was a bit of an awkward one.
I'm no expert here. Some think sometimes you have to be careful about knight b5 or something. I'm not sure if this is one of those occasions, but I would consider it. I would also consider d4, of course. Yeah, but knight b4 is coming.
Yeah, d4 would have been working, of course, with the knight still sitting on c3. But these plans are typically... Oh, well, this is one of these lines where the queen is on g3, so there are some problems, but knight a6 typically wins this, right? Yeah, knight a6 is the move here, just defending this vulnerable square on d7 I think this is just completely winning for or completely fine for black. But no, just gets out of dodge. You can go rook hunting. This doesn't even matter.
But after knight a6, knight d6 check, for instance, you do get a free check with white, right? I thought knight b4 was strong, actually. And yeah, but okay, king f8. Game's going on. c3 d4 is one option. And of course here black can take on e4 if he likes, and then pawn on c3 looks a little stupid.
Dread says king f8 seems forced, yeah. And probably just e5 now. Yep, once again, one of these positions where e5 seemed... If you're going to be on a dark square, yeah, you typically want your pawns on dark squares. This bishop also needs to stick around.
They do it after and takes on e4 now. I didn't really figure it out.
And 3-checker saying, yeah, knight f4.
Yeah, then king g8, and then something like knight h5 is in the air.
Scary.
Then why do we have to play c3 in the first place? Huh.
Okay, finally getting knight a6.
You can also go for d4 immediately or taking first. I think getting in d4 is good for white, or an improvement of his position.
Yeah, then bishop e7, right? Because this bishop does not want to be evicted off of this very weak diagonal. Unless you can get to g8 and be fine there, I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, probably you will go to g8 at some point. I don't know, this knight f4 is still in the air too. And then you have to move.
So how about d4, bishop d6? Could that be considered as well, just to stick around, keep that pressure on f2? I've seen Poli do this before, where you just have these these X-ray specs with the bishop, and you're thinking, oh, this whole center is closed down. Then the next thing you know, yeah, there could be problems still just with this kind of sniper bishop. Or do you just play defensively and keep things sane? Oh, or you just go for knight b4. Wow, okay. Kind of in reverse, right? No taking, same deal. This would come with check, and no way you're taking here. Threatening a check too, so...
First in knight b4 then. But maybe just king d1 here is fine. So, yeah, exactly. Black does not have a real, how do you know, so a real army of attackers. And even after e5, yeah, I think you just have bishop e2, don't you? At least this looks most natural. Knight e3 is not an option. Oh, allowing bishop g4. That's somewhat of a surprise.
Yeah. Now queen d6, I guess.
Check.
Queen g6. Okay.
Yeah,
this does come with tempo though. Maybe this was missed here. Such a complicated position. The next thing you know, this square is still defended. Oh,
right.
Yeah. This is problems here. I think black is just better now, right?
He has just missed it with bishop g4 because bishop g5 came very fast here on move 11, and bishop e2 was so natural after black is opening up with e5. And now I think you have to play knight g4. Is there any alternative? No. If the king moves, it's just queen f2. Yeah.
Hey, we got Variants Theorist up in here as well. Dread, 3-checker. Appreciate you guys. Good to have everybody in. Ton of spectators today. This is awesome, guys. Only getting better from here. Hype match. Okay, knight's gonna be evicted. No, you just take.
This rook is hanging, but the other rook might be coming in. Okay.
Yeah, with tempo,
this
of course.
Is dangerous. Rook d8 coming. King g7 now.
King g7
right.
Monster move. Yeah. Luckily, this
maybe a knight f2 maybe that's what he's contemplating. Maybe both is working even. Not impossible.
Check.
That's very interesting.
Oh, or
E3.
just check first, yeah, and then okay.
He didn't want the knight to block on d3. That's why he sacrificed on e3. That was smart. I would think both moves worked, but this was a very clean solution. Yep.
And just like that, we're sitting on match point. Poli finding himself with the black pieces. We wish him the best. We're gonna see if this one will keep going. See if we'll get an Armageddon, which I think we're all hoping for.
Did we just have 3 black victories in a row? That's something.
Yeah, there was some stretch there. That's unbelievable. And obviously to start the
first match. Was 3-0 for both players, and then 3 black victories in a row. That's really unusual in such a match.
Right. Went 3-0 to 3-3, and yeah, with that crazy stretch of black games. Okay, the early G5, knight G5. This is what I was saying during one of these games. It seems rushed. Obviously, why am I going to develop a piece twice? It's because black's underdeveloped, and these light squares are just buttery. They're just begging to be broken open here. Typically knight h6 will solve this, but then sometimes with e6 things can get a bit loose. Maybe there's some kind of pressure on e6. Doesn't quite look like it now. But yeah, knight g5, nice and aggressive.
Yeah, e6 very likely.
Yep, e6 is going to have to.
We will get one check. But actually, yeah, what else? Well, a6 is a great move in many lines, but of course, yeah, you are not getting your pieces out and maybe over very fast.
There's a line that our buddy Ukrainian Bishops has been playing where you get an e6 and it just like crumbles the entire position, where you don't even have to get in knight takes f7 or something. But imagine this position after like something like knight h6. Could you even take on f2 and knight takes on f2 and queen h5? Such an active queen. Maybe you could squeeze away with it. Doesn't quite look like it works.
95 is not an option, right? It's probably just bishop b5. Or what would you play?
Yeah, I suppose bishop b5 would work, yeah.
I think so. And if you let white take, something like e6, knight f7, queen h4, can't work, right?
Oh.
Yeah, knight e5 is played.
Knight taking e5. This does not seem good, right? This can't be good. This is certainly not.
You can choose, yeah. Bishop b4 is the obvious move. Of course, d4 is also an option. Maybe it is a very good option.
Getting in d4, yeah, I'm taking this check. I don't think this works for black. I wasn't even thinking this when you said 95. I wasn't thinking takes, and I was like 95, yeah, and just in my brain I was like not thinking of opening these light squares. Yeah, I think this is over. I don't think this is good for black at all. Scary times.
Yeah, queen d2.
Okay, just queen
I
e2.
think this is good. Not automatically recapturing. Now queen b5 is a threat, and after bishop d7 or something, you can just take the knight, or knight takes d5. I think this is just very, very game over.
Oh man, rough. Poli was kind of trying to play these c5 lines, right? Like exactly how Luke's pocket lines. The early just c5 and kind of delaying the e6 stuff, and things can go really wrong here in these like hyper move specific
That was I think bishop b5 and then queen e2. This looks very precise. I would assume knight takes b5 wins too, but this is really.
Oh no, get a move! Oh, yup, he knows it. Okay, 6-4, no Armageddon today, but regardless, a great match. And I hate to see Poli go out of the tournament that way. Played so well this year, done a great job. But as we know, Luuk made it to grand finals last year and challenged VariantsOnly in an absolute thriller. And if he would make it this year, I wouldn't be against watching that one again.
Yeah, congratulations to Luuk. Yeah, some great games, no doubt about it.